So more and more I'm loving fucking DaVinci, that's for damn sure. I really like the overall workflow that I'm creating using this damn this app. Part of like me trying to get more familiar with DaVinci and is that I started to like create my thumbnails using like a Fusion inside of DaVinci, right? So I actually have a separate project inside like the home screen for the DaVinci, right? I got my thumbnail creator. So I created like a 1080p timeline. I dropped in a Fusion composition, and if you go to the Fusion page, this is what I got so far. It took me a while to understand the workflow of notes. Actually, it's not that difficult. Now, what I'm doing is very, very fucking basic, right? So when I say it's not that difficult, I'm just saying to understand the basics of it, it's not that difficult. Getting more into advanced shit, then I definitely need more practice, right? But so far for what I'm doing, it works just fine. I kind of thought about like going back into like doing VFX works just for fun, you know what I mean? Like doing little visuals here and there just to fuck around, but at the moment, yeah, I'm just doing basic shit, right? So I guess I'm gonna go into step by step what I did here. So if you guys want to make your thumbnails using DaVinci, then like you can follow my method, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like let's go to effects and I click on when I go to effects, we're gonna look for Fusion composition, right? So it's on the visual here. I'm gonna click on this, I'm gonna drop it in here, so I'm gonna make a new one. So I'm just gonna right click and I'm gonna change the color of it to, let's just say pink, just so differentiated. So this is my original one and this is my new one, right? So I'm gonna click on it. Let's go over to the Fusion page. I'm gonna show you step by step what I do to create your own thumbnail maker if you guys want to attempt that inside of Fusion, right? So this is your media out. Now this is something that took me a while to understand, but the main thing you want to know is that when you're starting out using Fusion, the main thing you want to remember is that every note is almost like a direction of what to do, right? Casey Ferris, he has a good introduction to understanding how nodes work, right? So I'll find that video and I'll put it in the comment section. I'll pin it, right? That way you guys can like check it out if you want to get a better understanding of how nodes work, right? I'm gonna drop in a picture, just a random picture really quick. If we hover over here, you can see like these little two dots areas for the node. That basically means that if you want, you have two screens here, right? So let me see, I'm gonna put this here in the center. So the two dots here, the left one represents the left screen and the right one represents the right screen. So in the shortcuts and the keyboard, if you hit 1, see how it turns white here? It appears on the right screen. If I hit 2, it appears here on the right screen. See, and they're both highlighted white, right? So that's basically what these two dots are. So keep in mind, two shortcuts that it's gonna come in handy is 1 and 2, right? That way you can see what you're working with, right? Something you can do is say like the media out. The media out, this is basically what's gonna be thrown back to the timeline depending on what you do here in the node compositor, right? So on this one you can hit 2. It's showing nothing because nothing's being connected to the node here, right? So if I connect our DaVinci logo here to this node, which is media out, as soon as they connect it, you're gonna see it here, right? Watch. Boom, right? Because I'm sending information to this node saying that like if we go back to the edit page, it's right here in the composition, it's just kicking out like the DaVinci logo, right? So far so good, right? I'm gonna go somewhat quick because if you want to learn, like I said, if you want to get a really good introduction of like how nodes work, check out Casey Ferris's video, right? But basically what I want to show you right now is basically how I set up a project so I can create my thumbnails, right? Before we begin, just a few things. To begin with, the first thing you want to do actually is that you want to create a background, right? You want to do a solid. This background is necessary. I say necessary because if not, you're gonna have problems. It almost works like a blank canvas, right? You're basically starting off with like a blank canvas and it's black. So if I click on this, you're gonna get a black screen, right? But what's going on is basically this background is kind of matching the 1920 by 1080p aspect ratio, right? Now the reason why you want to add like a background is because say if I connected like just like the logo, right? As you can see here is not like a 1920 by 1080p aspect ratio, right? So let's say I want to add a larger image that has a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, right? And I bring in here and I try to merge this. As you can see here, it's cut off at the ends, right? If I try to shrink this down a bit, you can see here like it's not in the right aspect ratio, right? So basically that's the main reason why you want to start off with a background, right? Because if I start with a background, say if I delete this and I connect the background, this kind of fits like the 1920 by 1080p aspect ratio, right? So if we bring back this image that has a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, right? And if I connect it, shrink this down a bit. Now it's actually like the proper aspect ratio, right? So nothing gets cut off, right? So it fits perfectly inside of our 16:9 aspect ratio, 1080p by 1920 timeline composition that we created, right? So yeah, that's something you want to keep in mind when you're like doing this kind of shit with Fusion. When you have your media out, create your background and then connect it, right? And then this background, just kind of leave it alone. So now every time you're gonna start adding shit, it's gonna be between these two nodes now, right? Let's just add like a crazy background, right? So I'm gonna go back to my timeline. I took like a screenshot, right, of this thing. So I'm gonna hit 1. It's gonna go over here. This run where I hit 2, it's just a black screen because we have a black background here, right? Now if we hit F2, the function 2 key on your keyboard, that's gonna allow you to rename it. So let's just say background pick. Hit OK. Now, when you click on your node here that has this background picture that I'm about to, put in my node composition here, again, click on it, hold Shift, then until you see like a blue line, let go, then this happens, right? Now, automatically it does this weird thing where it moves like this node, like down here. I don't know why, I kind of don't like it. Let's say I'll grab a picture of myself here, right? I'm gonna click on my node here, hit 1 again. It's gonna show here in the screen what I have here. Gonna hit F2 just to rename it. Let's just say, I don't know, me, right? Hit OK. Here's where things starts to get a little fun. Now, I want to obviously cut myself out. I need to like get rid of all this other crap at the side, right? So what you can do is I'm going to click on this node. I'm going to hit 2 just so I can see myself on this screen. I'm actually going to get myself a polygon node. I'm going to click on it and I disappear, right? But if I start clicking, I can do that shit and then, boom, I appear, right? Now I'm gonna undo that. If you make a mistake, you can select your polygon or your mask node, go up here and hit reset and it gets rid of it for you, right? So when this happens, when you add like the polygon mask tool, it disappears, right? So when that happens, actually something that I learned to do is like click on it. We gotta go over here to the inspector and over here, click on invert. So what's happening is basically it works almost like a Luma channel, right? So if I put this by itself, see that it's all white? Yeah, so it works like a regular mask does, right? Anything that's white gets cut out. Anything that's black gets left behind. By I inverted it, right? So by default, it comes out to pretty much is black. So everything that's not white, it gets blocked out, right? But if I make a quick mask here, this section that's white, it appears here, right? So that's basically what's happening. But if I hit invert, then this section, everything that was black goes to white, and then we can see ourselves here, right? And reset that. So when this happens and you drop like a mask, you want to hit invert. That way you can see yourself. And then the mask here, it just flips the color from black to white. So now what you can do here is like with this selected, you have a bunch of tools up here, right? Which is great. I'm going to select this tool right here because I don't want to have any like curves. I just want to have like a straight mask. You can click on this icon over here to make this a full window. Maybe stretch it out a bit. You can use like the scroll wheel to like zoom in and out. So I'm just gonna quickly make a mask of myself. Just do this super fast. All right, there you go. And just like most apps, when you see that little circle, that means you're gonna close it. So there you go, deletes it, right? So now what you can do is you go back to your inspector and hit invert. And there you go, right? I'm gonna click this icon right here to bring up both windows. And you can see what happened. So yeah, that's basically how the mask works right now. If you want, you can make your adjustments, or whatever. You get like little handles here, you can make a little adjustments or whatever, but not for this tutorial. So that being said, now if you want to move this person, this thing, my image, right? The image itself doesn't have any like values to move in space, right? What you have to do is you have to get the merge icon, which is right here. Click on it. You're gonna get a merge node. Bring this guy down. Right now what's happening is like the polygon is saying there's a mask. Everything that's white is visible. Everything that's black, cut it out. Here's my image over here that got affected by this mask. So now we're gonna pipe this information to this merge. And this merge, it almost works like a single item, right? This merge creates these two into one. So now what's gonna happen is like if I just put this guy here in the timeline, I could connect this merge to this merge. Then I can send this information to the final media out. If I select this media out and hit 2, I fucking disappear. Why? Because I don't fucking know. Hold on a second, what happened here? Oh, I messed up. Okay, here's something that I keep in mind. Let me put these guys together. See these little two icons? One is green and one is yellow, right? I messed up. And see here, this one is yellow and this one is green. Yeah, these are different, and I kind of attached them wrong. What happened is like the green one, if I hold over it, that's for the foreground. The yellow one That's the background, right? So let me disconnect this really quick. Disconnect that and disconnect that. Basically what we want to do is, this is the yellow one should be the background. Yes, so we want to like, basically this section right here, this merge, which is the background image, which is what it is. I want this to be the background, obviously. So I'm going to need to connect this to the background input, which is like the yellow icon. Now this is the foreground input, right? I want to connect these two and I want to put it on top of this, right? So I want to select this and put it to the green. Now if I send this off to my media out, there you go. You need to use merge nodes a lot. That's something I guess I had to learn with this using the node method, is that using the merge to combine everything, right? So we use the merge, we connect it to another merge, but we set it to like the background, right? Which is what this is. And then we got my image here and I put it on the foreground so to be on top of the background, right? The scaling and positioning is pretty much all controlled mainly with the merge, right? So in this case, say if like I wanted to like reduce the size of this guy so I can get more information in the background, I can actually scale this down, right? Same thing with the movement, right? You can move this around using the merge, right? Now, same thing with my image here. If I want to move it, there's no controls by itself to control it, right? Because these two are now merged into one. Basically, the information of this two is being controlled in this node. So if you want to scale it down, these both are being scaled at the same time using the merge, the value information, right? So I can scale this down, and then like, you know, you got some arrows here. We can move this over and be like, oh, right there, right? Boom, there you go. Yeah, that's something you have to learn a lot in using nodes, is that you need to become friendly with the fucking merge nodes. Now, let's say if I wanted to add text, right? Usually you're gonna have to add a text node. So we have one right here. There you go. And then of course, again, you guessed it, merge nodes are basically your friend. You gotta use merge nodes, right? That way you can tell Fusion how to combine everything by using nodes, merge nodes, right? So again, I'm gonna click on merge node again. This pops up. And again, so I don't mess up, I want to make sure that this is going to be on the foreground. So it's going to be connected to the green icon here. You see it says foreground, green. Now I'm going to disconnect this by clicking this arrow until it turns blue. Move this guy here. And I'm going to move this control here to like, it's going to be the background. So this is going to stay behind my text. You don't see anything because this is where like, the media out is. Nothing's connected to it, right? This string of information is going to be piped towards the media out. And there you go, right? So now we go to our text and let's just say Joe is cool, whatever. Right here I got more information. Let's just say red, or let's do a kind of like an orange. You can increase the size here, and also you can increase the positioning. And then, you know, you got other information. You can do other stuff here. I don't know. Let's do yeah, that's cool, whatever. Now if I wanted to do a drop shadow, you are able to do it, right? So you can select the text, hold shift and spacebar, you got a menu here, you go drop shadow, you click on it, and then when you hit add, it should be attached to this little pipeline here. There you go, right? Here's your drop shadow. Now you can do drop distance. I'm gonna reduce the blur to make it more solid. Shadow strength, make it 100, and I don't know, let's just change the color, make it red, or just something that pops out more. Sure, that works. You can change the angle, right? And then, like, of course, if you want to do a color correction, I believe there's one over here. Yeah, they have like the standard nodes that you use right here. You just gotta hover the mouse and then, like, you know, you get the label of what they are, right? Or you can simply go over here, click on an open space, hit shift and spacebar, then you get this menu. You say, I don't know, color corrector. So you can select that, you can hit add, and it'll pop up, the same thing, right? Say if, like, I don't know, you just want to like color correct my face, right? So I need to add it to me and nothing else, right? So what I need to do is basically I need to add the color corrector in this section right here between me and this merge, right? Because I only want my image to be affected but nothing else. So if I disconnect this, so I click here, I'm gonna go to the yellow, which is input. Click this and I go here. And now if I hover here, it says input, right? Obviously this information, which is me, is going inside the color corrector node. Then this information is going down to this merge. It's going to go down this pipeline to like the media out. Now if we select the color corrector, I can actually adjust what I want and see it's only affecting me, nothing else, right? Pretty cool, right? So let's just say I like that. Let's get rid of the metadata. You do have some other controls here, right? Okay, here's a good thing to show. See how like it's actually affected the background? Now it's not supposed to do that. Now even though like I'm affecting only my image, the color corrector, the information can spill to the background, right? But so if this is happening where you're noticing your background that's being affected by the color corrector node, let me see if I solo myself. There's like transparent information going around here, right? So when I add like the color corrector, it's also affecting the the transparency along with this image, right? That's what the color corrector is doing, right? So if I go back to my image here, as you can see here, like the transparency, how it's being affected. Yeah, this should be transparent. So like the color information is affecting our transparency. So we don't want that. So if you go to options, hit something, hit pre-divide post multiply, it's going to get rid of it. So now like our transparent is going to stay transparent. If we go back to the color corrector, now like I see here, the transparency is not being affected. It just stays clear, which is what we want, right? So make sure you hit the pre-divide post multiply option if you're having that issue. So now, you know, I could just fuck around and be like, let's just say that's right. So I can mess around with contrast a bit, you know, do the gain, or I don't know. I'm just messing around with it. I'm not really aiming to do anything quick, just, you know, something quick, right? So say you're done and you want to add one more thing, right? If you want to add like say a sharpening or a sharpening filter overall to this timeline, again, we can click on blank space here, hit shift spacebar. Let's just say sharpen. I don't know, let's just say sharpen and hit add. Deselect this by clicking on the blue arrow of the pipe, put this in place, and this should be the background or source, my bad. So yeah, all this information, we're gonna pipe it inside here, and this is our media that's gonna be sent out to the timeline. So we want to make sure we send that information here. So now we go to the sharpen. You got options here. We can like just say, let's just go extreme, right? Just so you can see it. So if I just select that, you can see that, right? So everything is being affected here by this one node, right? So now if we go back to our edit, there you go, right? You can see it on our timeline. And yeah, that's basically cool. So I created myself a cool little fucking like thumbnail. So let's say if you wanted to like export this, what you have to do is you go to like the color page actually. You can do some final work here if you want, you know, you got more information if you like. I don't know, let's just say if you want to add more, just say saturation, you're able to do that, you know. You can do that here in the color page, you know, or, you know, mess around with the highlights, you know. Once you're happy with that, you can right click on the image. It says grab still. And it appears over here, right? See that? So when it appears over here, you want to hover over it, right click, then just hit export. Do not click enter right away. See how it says DPX? We want to change that. But first, let's just name it. Let's just say that, I don't know. Let's just say thumbnail creator tutorial. We want to make sure we go in the pull down menu and select the JPEG. So hit export. Now if I go to my thumbnail section, as you can see here, it's right here, ready to go. And there you go. We just made a fucking thumbnail using nodes. And yeah, my idea is basically I want to get away from using After Effects and Adobe overall because I'm so over Adobe, to be honest. So me learning to do this workflow using nodes, it took me over a month or so to understand the basics. So now I'm like starting to mess with it more and more, right? I still have a long way to understand how to use nodes better, but like so far I'm happy how things are going, right? And it's not that bad. It's really not that complicated, right? So you start to understand how things go. It's not a bad system, to be honest. You know, I actually like it.